In 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
We are back with another fireside. We are following up in quick succession with a fireside that was recorded with Merlin there and Claudio, and hoping to just expand on that a little bit. Meanwhile, some things have happened in the Algorand community as far as more hacking activities. So we wanted to make sure that we open this with a reminder to secure your wallet. There has been a blog post with PlanetWatch calling out what should be done, how it should be addressed, how you may be affected. But again, to reiterate, if you've had a wallet that has interacted at any point with MyAlgo, follow their advice, follow PlanetWatch's advice, and do one of the appropriate methods, which we'll also cover a little bit later. We'll touch on some of this stuff, but do one of these methods to secure yourself, because if your tokens are important to you, as they are to me, as they are to Merlin, you want to keep a hold of them. You don't want to give them to somebody else for free. You've done the work. You've got the devices. You've done the work to make sure that you can earn these devices and be rewarded. Don't let somebody else have them. Public service announcement.
Yeah. Actually, I would say, like, we will expand on the topic a little bit later, but for what it's worth, like, I feel like anyone that by now watched this video and hasn't done it yet should rekey his wallet, or at least know something about the rekey wallet topic. To cut it very short at this point, though, like, many people underestimate this whole thing with the hack that was already known at earlier this month, or like almost at the start of the month, and people have this false sense of security where they think, like, yes, but I didn't do anything with my key phrase back then, I put it on a paper. This has nothing to do with this kind of operational security on your side. MyAlgo basically got hacked, and key phrases, whenever, the simplest way to put it, like, whenever you interacted a wallet with MyAlgo, this wallet is basically potentially compromised, and you should do something about it, regardless of how safe you feel with other things. And you should do a rekeying to something. You should, in fact, do the rekey now. The things are out there. We will also link it in the here in the YouTube video again, the instructions. You need to rekey to a new wallet if you haven't done so before, or if you're not using a ledger before. You have to rekey better now than do anything else. Hold the video here and do it. We will talk a little bit more about this later on.
Right.
Yes. This is all right. This is the most important point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your money's important to us. Your money's important to you. Protect yourself, just like you would with your credit cards and everything else. So moving into what we saw with you speaking to Claudio. Sorry I couldn't be there. I understand that, time zones are a challenge, and I appreciate the fact that it was made. The content, I'll be honest, was refreshing. It was great to hear that questions could be asked that are probably a little bit difficult to answer, and that they were received by Claudio, that he talked on them and said what he could. We understand, as a community member, participant, I understand that there's going to be limitations, legal limitations, business limitations, non-disclosures, everything that are going to prevent certain things from being said. But it's great that we got as much response as we did, and it was very refreshing. I love to hear that kind of fire almost out of Claudio.
I mean,
fire back.
I have to say I was of course Claudio also said like he would have liked to done it with you, but we did it actually at like EU 11 in the morning times. Like this is very much outside of Acci's time zone, and for that matter we felt we had to get it done, but also like I was a little bit of a guilty pleasure to be able to ask Claudio certain very harsh questions to his face, and I was kind of sad that you weren't there to cherish the moment with me, because like some of those, like who has the chance to ask such nasty things to his CEO right in the face, but I think he took it very good, and he didn't dodge anything. You saw like especially that bit, no jump cuts involved. Like he took every question I threw on the table there. Although at some point it was also a little bit about asking actually nasty questions. I feel sometimes the answers kind of overlap. Like if you're bringing up the question like, is it a dead project, or what is about people calling it a scam, to some degree I was actually surprised that he could formulate so different answers to those takes. It was good.
Yeah, my answer would be no. No, it's not.
No. Yeah.
It's not. Just understand that. Use some logic, figure that out. Yeah, if I had been involved at that hour from my time zone, it basically would have been me like passed out while you guys are talking anyway. So this is all good. You guys talked about something I found interesting, which was monetization metrics, which is basically something we haven't had before. I think everybody's always looked at data sales. When are we getting data sales? What are they going to mean to the project? How big are they going to be? And to try to really understand that, you need some form of metric to say, you know, where are we now? What's our goals short term? What are our goals long term? And how do we kind of evaluate this as time goes on? And the answer that I got from listening was we can define how many, and it makes sense, how many sensors are being monetized across the network. And there was a percentage put out there. You can probably refresh my memory, but there was a percentage put out for
1.4%. Yeah, 1.4% of the currently active sensors.
Right. So 1.4% of the currently active sensors. It's a great number. And using that, you can see over time, if you get to 2%, 5%, 7%, 20%, you can see that you are actually making progress, and the participants can see the progress. So great number. So can you also talk about the logistics of monetization with those sensors and how that affects reward participants?
Yeah, I mean, if we get into the nitty and gritty there are also things like expectations you have to manage, and also thinking about how the system works. Like, I believe that we're this indication number is now a step after just proof of concept of certain things. Like, we have those concepts working, and the key indicator number of sensors monetized will be growing and will give kind of evidence of how much we can monetize our networks. Though this is a very rough percent figure, if you take the fact that currently in this beginning stages, still indoor and outdoor sensors are perceived a little bit different. Like, outdoor sensors are most likely those sensors who are more monetized on scale, and where it is also the most realistic that you will have the first instance of, let's say, the same sensor being where data is purchased from two different entities. This is likely to happen first on an outdoor sensor, simply given by the fact that the outdoor sensor is very representative for a region. And there you can easily see, like, maybe the first is a hotel near buying air quality data, and then you have something of a larger scale and there's an overlap. All the while, indoor sensors, for when they are starting, are more prone to the situation that the people who place them also buy the data from them or the added services to the data. I feel this is, it is a little bit tricky. Like I will also dive later in the topic where we will have other cases, but what it is now, like the most prone data to be immediately sold is outdoor data, while we have also a lot of people interested in indoor data, but those will be more in small bubbles before we can really speak about monetizing third-party indoor data. This is the whole thing, because like if a hotel places like let's say type 3 Kythera sensors in their vicinity, and they have a deal with us to get their reset certification, they tap into the data sales. So technically 40% of that is going into the bin for all, while 40% is going back to the sensor owners. If the hotel is the sensor owner, part of the rewards are going back to them in this kind of process thing. The next thing there, which will be very important, are entities like the university studies, or I actually am more curious later down the line about things like insurance companies and stuff like that, where they will monetize indoor data, not just from their own building, but from other sources.
Right.
What is now fair to say about this all is I believe that this is a process which has taken a long time for the perception of the community, because like people are just like, you have the product, you have the data, now go and sell it. Why don't you do it? Like partially we have to say that the solution to buy data isn't so easy, and like the current instance of the data sales API is not yet open usage for everyone. It is more like we're doing individual deals with people, give them access to the API, and make those deals still very Web2-like. But it is a necessary process to iron out the system and to make those things scalable. There are many challenges. Apart from the API solution to buy the data, what I also find is kind of crazy behind the scenes what is going on in terms of data calibration. Because like this also, while this gives the honest perspective that, or I want to manage the expectations, they're saying that like things always take much longer than we expected and everyone else is expecting. But those things sometimes give interesting products along with it. And what I mean by that is that, of course, just deploying all the air quality sensors like the Aquino is only one side of the thing, because like those sensors come pre-calibrated, but once the network is established and those sensors run, they have to be recalibrated against other already existing sensors, like governmental sensors, or generally to their region.
Right.
And while this is a big challenge and it is taking up a lot of works behind the scenes to do those calibrations, this also gave us a little like more prospects on how we might treat the calibrations of Aquino sensors in future. I think this is an interesting topic where I not yet can expand on so much, other than to say that we have found ways to maybe mitigate, because like everyone is thinking that an Aquino after 2 years of runtime has to be sent back to TEA.
Right.
Most likely, by all the endeavors we're currently taking in recalibration of our sensors, this is not quite how it's gonna be. We have probably within some means and with simply maybe some minimal exclusions, we have the means to calibrate the sensors on ground remotely. So to give an outlook to that, but not get myself wound up in technicalities that I don't fully understand, I think like we will go more in depth on that topic with someone from the tech or in the environment team in a future episode.
Okay.
And this is something that is going on behind the scenes, and it is kind of interesting. And yeah, by the data sales model, I mean, you saw it also, the blog post. To some people like you, I think the general gist of it was clear from before. Basically, the split of having like 40% goes into the bin, 40 to the sensor owners, 20% to PlanetWatch. That being said, like some people overlooked this blog post a little bit. It was a little bit undervalued in my opinion, because like it gives a lot of context to the technicalities, how that conversion is done.
Wait. So you're going to get into discussing the fiat value.
Okay. I mean, like this is one side of it. I mean, this is like the precious part of it. But other than that, it is also the fact that I believe very much that before the people simply thought, yeah, the data sales is going to happen, and then it's distributed to those entities. But what is also an important key factor there is that if the people buy the data with planets, they get a slight discount on it, which is meant to incentivize the direct use of the token, although it actually doesn't matter. Because if the people decide, and this is very realistic for entities like municipalities, governments, big companies, that they rather pay this with fiat or with the stable coin. The reason why this system works with USD stable coin is that it is more accessible to how do you say, to like more in traditional finance anchored entities to use, because for them it's clear why the USD stable coin is for them 1-to-1 value to US dollar, so they understand it's like a dollar purchase. So if they purchase this with planets and then those get redistributed, or they purchase it with USD stablecoin, which then gets converted by us in planets, those planets are taken from the market, from circulation. Like it's not like in the case where someone pays USD stablecoin, it's not like that PlanetWatch magically pulls out planets out of their pockets and just redistributes that. No, like those are bought in that moment from the market. So in both cases, we have a usage of planets tokens, which then gets redistributed. This is like the technical side of it.
Right.
And what you now alluded to is basically the fact that regardless of the current token value on a purchase, as the purchase is quantified in a fiat value, you get the real value. I mean, like if we have the pricing metrics. I don't have the pricing metrics currently available. I'm not yet sure how much of them I can share, but our B2Bs are already using them and have seen the prices. We have priced them very competitive. Basically, like air quality data from PlanetWatch is not cheap. How to put this politely? It's as expensive as possible and to still be competitive. You know, that's the real fact of it. We have to compete to other air quality companies out there. So that we believe that this pricing model that we have now does this. And if, let's say, someone uses this API and the pricing model to buy air quality data for $20K US dollar, then this is the value that is getting put into the 40% into the recycle bin and 40% to the sensor owners. And now if the Planet token at this point is like the current not so nice value, or like above or below, it doesn't really matter, because it will, if the token is lower, it will get more tokens into the bin. This is basically how it works. To simply detach the token price value from the data sale, which of course doesn't mean that we don't have to work on the token price either. But it is like, it is what it is. For the means now, we had to create a system that is independent of that to first make, because like it's actually a funny thing I want to bridge out to is that when I was at the Paris blockchain event and walked around there and saw all those booths from different newer and smaller blockchains coming up, I found it very funny that I came across the first booth and they had their token there. I'm not gonna name it, but they were writing, so we have solved the trilemma of crypto, you know. And I found like it's cool marketing to do, like you're solving the trilemma of crypto. And then I came to the next booth and saw their flyer and they were like, we solved the trilemma of crypto. Honestly, I have counted, and on the exhibition booths there were like at least I counted 17, but probably there were more, but 17 different smaller blockchain companies who had
basically solved everything.
Yeah, they saw also, but they all were the one and only ones to solve the trilemma.
Of course.
And this is to some extent like we're having our own trilemma at PlanetWatch that still needs to be solved. And this is basically how you balance everything against each other. And I'm not gonna lie, like the thing is that if you build up the network and you want to monetize the network in the moment where you're more focusing on monetizing the network, now you have the problem to keep up the network. Like some things are not as easily solvable. I believe we're doing our best efforts to basically go around and push incentives where they are important. It is just a little bit tricky. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had bigger expectations on the HODLER program in terms of reflecting on the token value. I don't call it a lost cause. I still think currently it is a very good system for people who are in the system to get a lot of tokens. I would rather want it to reflect more on the market, and I am kind of at a loss because like you're always shifting from one problem to the other. Now we feel that we have done a lot with the HODLER program, and we still have to give it time and the token burning also. And now really put our biggest efforts on like the business sides of things, because like if we're not pushing forward on making business cases and monetizing data, it also doesn't help us further in the prospect. Like it's always
right. It's a balancing act, and I think Claudio said it well. He was like focusing on the goals, full forward, making sure we've set some goals that we want to reach. We're going to implement that, and that is our main focus right now. And that's good because, yeah, everybody that runs a project that involves devices and stuff goes through this hyper growth period, and then you've got to have some actual substance behind it. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. And I think PlanetWatch working on that end goal of the API being robust, obtaining the customers for that API, working on relationships and partnerships to build that up. That's a key component. Otherwise, you fail in your next stage, and then what are you left with? Well, we've got a whole bunch of sensors and nothing to do with it. So it is definitely a balancing act, and I wish it on no one. I've watched it. I've watched on multiple projects. I've seen more than a few failures across different projects. It's something that is a challenge, and that's why, as you said, 17 people think they have the answer. Is because they all think they want to have the right answer, and they probably don't.
I mean, before we go into the maybe a little bit, we should talk about the burning thing also. But apart from that, like, I mean, you have been there right on chain with the inception of the HODLER system, and you have documented everything about it. Like, and I don't want to pose such a complicated question on you, like, what do you think is missing? But I'm still sometimes thinking about what is missing there. Why doesn't it pitch up? But like, everything looked fairly organic, or didn't it? Like, I mean, it grew every day.
I will tell you, there was a period of growth that you see in a lot of different projects where even before it started, somebody I actually know bought a reasonably substantial amount of planets in expectation of staking and making sure they had enough and having them at a price that they were willing to purchase them at before it, did ramp up and they couldn't do it. Yeah. And it was very funny because at that moment, in probably 30 minutes to follow, it was just a crazy ride. And it continued as people were concerned. I don't want to miss my chance to get them at the right price. So I'm ready for HODLER. And I think it did it at a far faster pace than I thought it was going to. I thought we'd have a slow, steady ramp up as HODLER was approaching, as people were obtaining the tokens they needed to stake their sensors. And I think it went through more of a roller coaster ride of ups and downs as people are like, oh, I got to get them. Okay, it's coming down. Okay, I got to get them real quick. Don't put me on the spot because I have no idea. Other than I think it was a good program. I think in the long term, it's still a good program. I think, to be blunt or open at this point, I think it's a great mechanism to kind of tell people, hey guys, we're working on the core fundamentals of how we're going to move on to the next phase. As you just said, data sales, and how are we going to implement those? And in that, we need a little bit of time. It's going to take time to ramp stuff up. And during that phase, we want you all to stick around and join the ride and have fun with us, provide some air data and help the planet. So here's what we're going to do. It's going to reward you for sticking around. And then at the time that we have, hopefully far before HODLER is finished, we have implemented and started growing these data sales to a good amount, you'll get these rewards and you will be rewarded for sticking around with us. I think it is actually a really good plan. I think it was implemented well. I know Claudio's not afraid of bears, but I've said before in Discord, I think every human should be afraid of bears. Bears are very dangerous. But bear markets, I mean, it is a bear market. It's a little difficult to get going. I've watched a few projects attempt to start up and ramp up right now, and they're not doing well. I mean, even if you have a really good use case, which I think PlanetWatch does, they have a real world case that they're trying to solve. We have air quality issues. How do we kind of collect that data? How do we get it to the people who need it for making good decisions, whether that's universities, governments, individual businesses, whatever? How do we get through all that? And how do we do that during a bear market is going to be a challenge always. And I think that PlanetWatch has come up with a good product, good use case. Timing has been a little bit challenging. So I couldn't say that anything should be changed right now, except what you mentioned before, which is part of the entire program. Let's burn some tokens. I think decreasing circulation, decreasing numbers is good.
Yeah, I mean, like, the burning thing is a whole new topic there, or not a new topic. I mean, everyone should know it was part of the proposal. But the thing is, of course, that we now need a real burning solution, which is not quite as easy if you want to fully do it correct. Like, the thing is simply that if you there is one way that Algorand did burning in the past by sending tokens to their Zero wallet, but this is only a thing for which works only with algo tokens, technically speaking, because like that wallet address cannot add planets to it, or you can't request it to have planets added to it. And like, to find a real solution that is not just like, I mean, you understand probably a little bit more about the different ways Claudio put it, like how it is, but like for context, like you have a way to technically send tokens somewhere where you can't access them anymore, but this is not really token burning. And the problem is that we want to always be super correct and over comply on things. And there is no real burning process yet for ASA tokens, like for
Yeah.
any other tokens on the Algorand chain. So I believe that going for the most complex route is the only logical and real route. Like usually you would like to prefer easy solutions, but like it's not simply that you can send things. I don't like the idea of sending tokens to a wallet that for some reason you can't access, because this is basically also the thing how they sold certain things like with Lunar or stuff like that. I think it has to be an official accepted solution and one that is technically sound, and this is why it has to go over the open source route on Algorand. And we hope that that on the GitHub repository, that I'm not quite sure if we open it or if we contribute to it. Our devs are currently looking into the different options there, but we hope that there is a bigger interest to solve this, because actually no other token on Algorand has it either. And it is kind of a thing that is needed.
Yeah, it's a challenge, definitely. I've looked at it in the past, obviously, as a blockchain person, and I've gone through the steps that Algorand did many years ago to burn stuff, and I've looked through it, and I actually saw another project do it recently, and I think in the end, PlanetWatch will probably end up somewhere. I'd love to see all the options that people come up with and thoughts and how it's going to happen, but I think we're going to end up landing somewhere along the same lines as what Algorand did. And that's basically creating a public wallet address that is generated by defined stuff used within the blockchain that everybody can verify that's how the wallet address was created. Not someone, hey, I created this wallet, let's all send tokens to here, and I promise they're burned. So I think it'll end up in that same line, and we'll end up having a burn mechanism. But just to reiterate what was said before, a lot of people like, hey, why haven't you burned already? When's the burn coming? What's going on with the burn? It's not as simple. It's not like you're just throwing it in the trash and you're just hoping it's gone. There is side effects and circumstances around burning, including like if it just goes to a wallet and that wallet, even if it doesn't have access, those tokens still exist on the blockchain. They're still in circulation. So there's things to be dealt with regarding that. So you don't want to do the wrong thing and burn and then, oh, they're not really burned.
I believe also that I haven't followed, like I have only looked into 3 cases of projects on Algorand that have their own native token, haven't done something like a token burn, but all those were not listed on sites like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. And now what you say, like, as long as the tokens are still on the wallet, you cannot simply exclude them from total supply with coin, because like they have very strict rules. I mean, like things like CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, for them it's like they don't read 2 pages on your explanations why you consider those tokens on this wallet as burned and not in circulation. For them, it's quite easy if they appear on the Algorand Explorer, and if they are technically still there, they belong to the supply. So we have to really find a solution which is not just they sit on this wallet and we can't access it kind of thing.
Well, I guess we'll see what comes out of all this. I mean, it'll be an interesting exercise, and it'd be interesting to see what the result is. I don't know if we're going to know that result today, but
yeah, probably not. But the thing is simply that I also read it once in our Telegram chat where someone was like, token burning is not something that you speak about, you just do it. Yeah, if it was that easy, if it was that easy, we would have done it. But like actually, like everyone can you have to read a little bit on the fact to understand that the only real token burning on chain, for that matter, was done with Algorand tokens.
Yeah, and again, you can't use that same exact process to that same wallet with assets because your asset is not opted in. So for all the people that are going to maybe post in the comments below, but feel free anyway, we can't send to the same wallet that Algorand did. It's just not going to work. So,
but I honestly hope that this not just is an interesting. I wonder. I myself was back then very weirded out that such a solution doesn't exist for ASAs, because I think like of token burning is something that is kind of necessary nowadays for sophisticated things like. And everyone wants to have it in some form or shape.
yeah.
So I really think that this will be interesting as a case for other developers on Algorand also, because I think like to have this open repository and in open source will for once bring interest on not just that solution. I mean, we will also contribute to it as far as we can, but we think this is something that needs more eyes on. And if as soon as this thing is made, we will announce it, and we will also try to drive more engagement to this. And I will actually actively be contacting other projects that I have in mind on Algorand to kind of write this topic home. Yeah. I mean, currently people are very distracted from the whole MyAlgo situation. But I think like if one thing has to be done in bear market, it is building on chain solutions. And it is a good moment past all the hype. That is a nice way to say it, that currently everything is basically anti-hype. We have to build solutions and make things more sound to prepare for what is coming up next.
Yeah. Yeah, a burn mechanism is something that I think in the case of PlanetWatch project is definitely something that we would benefit from on multiple levels, not just the ones we're thinking about now, not the ones we're just talking about now, but future enhancements to the program, the project. Being able to use burn is going to potentially be instrumental. So hopefully we'll figure this out.
Yeah.
So
I think we should also allow. I have also just mentioned it. We should also go full circle back and touch on the MyAlgo situation. I will basically, for some people that have not yet caught attention of the scope, before we maybe go in a deeper discussion about it, I will just reiterate something from John Woods, the CTO of Algorand, who has last Wednesday, basically, that was on, let me check the dates. That was on Wednesday, the 29th of March. There was the public Algorand community call, and there they touched on the topic so far as that at that moment, the point of investigation was at the point where it had to do with malicious Java code injection, and how it, in layman terms, and giving the words from John Woods here, reiterating them, it was basically described as that MyAlgo is working together with content distribution networks, which is a common process for such websites, because if everyone goes to one website, the website basically exists in small copies so that everyone have access to the website at the same moment and don't suffer from load and congestion while all surfing to that. And on that level, companies like MyAlgo and many others for that reason work together with content distribution networks, which get the API from MyAlgo if I understood that correctly. And basically they need this. This is a common process to give that working copy of the website. And on that level, some bad actor managed it to implement like sort of
Man in the
JavaScript.
middle attack.
Yeah, man in the middle attack, or like they made it Java. They called it JavaScript injection, or John Woods called it like poison pill, like something they put in there, and basically the user cannot differentiate it. He is going to MyAlgo. He is just typing in his seed phrase, thinking it will only be stored locally. But this was sent basically to the hacker, and the hacker collected those things for many months, probably, and waited for the moment until his collection was so big that he striked upon it. And we had, like, at the start of March, we had basically the biggest attack where they took from those high-profile Algorand wallets, they took huge amounts, and then they waited again and refined their script. And basically now went out to get like the extra sugar icing on their cupcake or whatsoever, and emptied all kinds of wallets. And the problem here is that people have many misconceptions about if their wallet is potential to the attack or not. And I also honestly, like, for me it was quite the understanding that when I heard this in the beginning of March, I was like, to some degree, initially not even fully understanding it, but rather just doing the rekey to feel safe.
Yeah.
This was my immediately reaction to this. And I only later understood that some people don't really get it, because, like, okay, they made a wallet on MyAlgo and they think MyAlgo is the problem. Then they took that seed phrase and put it on Para and thought, like, okay, now I'm done. No, you're not done. Like, this seed phrase has been compromised. Like, I don't know. It is.
Yeah. If I could. So 2 things. The CDN, the content delivery network or distribution network, that's used, again, by almost everybody you go to daily. Every website, even for just little images, for sound files, everything else. And one of the benefits is they're all over, and they're placed geographically all over. So that way, if I need an image from one of the popular search engines in their page, I can get it from one that's really close to me. And if you're across the country or in another country completely, you can get it from a CDN close to you. It works great. As you mentioned, it helps with load balancing, helps with all kinds of stuff. Super efficient. But yeah, if the wrong code is somehow replacing the original code that was there, you get a man in the middle attack. It's like for people who have watched movies and TV shows where there's some guy who shoves a USB device in a laptop, and they're going to hack stuff, and they're going to collect keyboard details and stuff. Think of it like a keyboard logger. You can essentially inject your code into a CDN, and then when people are doing import commands, because they're importing their wallet into MyAlgo, they can store that off and send it off to their stuff. Just like you said, store it until they've got a huge amount of passphrases. It's crazy. You want to be careful about what websites you go to, but this is completely beyond your control as an average visitor of a website. You don't know if the content delivery network has the right stuff, the wrong stuff. You assume everybody's done their job up to this point. The second point, I forgot what we were just talking about because I went off on that tangent, but you were talking about,
I was talking about the
wallets.
The wallets.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have been confused. The best way I can try to let someone visualize it is you have a vault. You have a room that's like a vault. And when you have your private keys, you create a doorway with a lock and everything that you enter into your vault with. And the thing is, every time you import that wallet into a new service like Para or DFly or any of those, you're basically creating another door with the same locking mechanism. It uses the same key, but it's another door. So if you move it over to Para and you import your wallet there and it was previously on MyAlgo, you just basically create a second door. And even if you rekey that second, I don't want to use that in an algo term, but if you change the locks on that second door, that first door still exists. You never really disconnect it. You can't disconnect it. Even though you think I'm removing my wallet from MyAlgo, it's not gone. That hacker has your passphrase from months ago, from weeks ago.
And I mean, that the seed phrase doesn't change.
Your secret phrase doesn't change, which is why we say things like create a new wallet and transfer your assets if you can, or rekey. And rekey is like rekeying a lock on your house. Except in this case, I think Chris Crypto there did a pretty good analogy. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, I think, for the average person, that rekeying your original wallet to a new wallet, you're basically creating a new signature to that wallet. But as Chris put it, he said, think of it like two-factor authentication for your crypto wallet. And I think that's good because you have to have that second wallet.
Because like basically the things are between costs, convenience, and possible future safety. And I would say that, of course, like to some degree, we don't want to exactly write too much home the fact that ledgers are super safe things, because that could be perceived as us doing like commercials for ledger. But like if we're real, currently the fact is there are different competitors of such hardware solutions out there. Ledger turns out to be the biggest one and currently the only one who has Algorand token support. So we're pretty much out of options other than talking ledger. Ledger is a super good thing because it nails the thing down to a piece of hardware, and without it you can't do anything. So you know that there is no possible other way of intrusion other than someone getting hold of the device and to the key of it. This is why I would still find it fair to say that at some point someone should consider getting a ledger. And I always hear the argument, yes, but if I only have $200 of crypto, why should I buy like a $80 or $100 device to make my crypto safe? And there I'm saying, like, maybe
would you rather have $0 in crypto?
Yeah, I find that argument also not so good, because like, of course, if your whole life gonna be holding $5 worth of crypto, probably don't need a ledger. But is this how the average crypto user is? No. You're getting and even if something is less worse at one time, it might become more worse at the other time. Also fair enough to say that I would think that people who really think about the value of things and the costs of things, they probably don't just have Algorand and Planet's token. They have probably also some other crypto, all that you can make safe in one device. I find it is a very reasonable thing to consider as a purchase. But for convenience matters and to put the cost thing out of the occasion, I think rekeying is the best solution. And I believe that sometimes people don't fully understand rekeying and also don't understand how convenient this actually is. Because like I ran into this, that like that people thought like it is a big complicated process to do, therefore they pushed it in front of them until it was too late. It's also like the reality is, if you have whatever wallet, if you have a Para wallet or a MyAlgo wallet, or you have one Algorand wallet, you already have all the knowledge using this wallet of what makes it complicated. Like there is nothing complicated. You know what seed phrases are, you have a wallet, you know what asset opt-in is. You don't even need an asset opt-in. The reality is, in very, very simple terms, if you ever used a wallet at any point in time with MyAlgo, consider it compromised. The fastest way and easiest way to rekey it fast is to go on Para, for example, make a fresh new wallet and write that down manually offline not on your computer. Don't copy paste it. Write the words down manually on a piece of paper for yourself. Then, as you have already probably algo on your old potentially compromised wallet, send 0.5 algo or 1 algo over to this new wallet. So you have a starting point. Now that this wallet has the minimum balance on it of 0.5 algo, all you do is like, you have the old compromised wallet loaded into Para wallet. You have made a new wallet in Para wallet. You have both wallets there. You send a little bit from the old one to the new wallet. And then on the old one, you click the 3-point roster, and on the options, you pick rekey. And once you pick rekey, it will show you to which wallet should I rekey. Obviously, you pick the new one that you made with the 0.5 algo on it. And boom, it's done. In the moment, it will tell you, okay, initiating rekeying, boop, 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 it's done. And from that moment on, your old wallet remains your old wallet. All the tokens that are on it remain on it. Yeah. Everything, if you have sensors on them, it will still get rewards. But anything that is a transaction out of it, the thing the hacker did, when the hacker had the key and could just send something out of it. Now, in the moment someone wants to send something out of it, it needs the consent of the new wallet. So, unless you have both wallets, and you're still having now in Para the old compromised and the fresh one, because the fresh one no one has access to, it doesn't matter that the old one is compromised. Only if both are there in the same app, you can execute transactions out of it. So this is why the analogy of Chris is quite good with two-factor authentication. You basically just have a second wallet, and without this, nothing works in terms of going out. What is kind of convenient in some cases is that you can leave everything on your old wallet. I found, I see different things. Like for once, it is of course like for how our sensors work, which the hackers cannot send out. The hackers cannot move the sensor tokens because they are frozen in the wallet. The thing is basically that, to make anything stays the same. If this wallet was used in staking, it can still remain in staking. Whatever you did with the wallet can still stay the same. The only difference is that the new wallet is the one saying, yes, okay, this can go here, or yes, okay, this can go here.
Yeah, to add to that, one final thing. It has been tested, in fact, by me, because I wanted to make sure before I told people, because people had been asking previously, in March. You can use a single signature or a single new wallet as the rekey target for multiple wallets. So if you had like 8 wallets on MyAlgo, if you're the kind of person that had one sensor per wallet, I was one of those people, still am. If you have it broken up and you've got 8 wallets and you're like, oh gosh, I got to do 8 new wallets, 8 rekeys. No, you don't. You can move and import all 8 of those into Para, make one new wallet, and rekey each of them one by one to that same wallet. So again, it's like two-factor authentication in the broad spectrum, because it's like having one cell phone to authorize a transaction for all your accounts. So just keep in mind, it's not as involved as it may sound. If you've been holding off until now, please don't, because at last note before we started recording this video, the hacker is looping back through all the wallets. So if they've already hit your wallet and it's a rewards wallet and you get daily rewards from PlanetWatch or any other project and any other asset, it is going to be hit again potentially tomorrow, the next day. So don't think they got me once, it's over, we're done. They're going to keep doing it. So please do your due diligence, take your time, get this done, protect your funds and protect your future funds.
Yeah, I mean, for that matter, like this is also a thing. Like, I mean, I believe most people at least understand by the scope of it that this is not done manually, but that these guys run a script. And basically for them, it's like no additional work. Like it's basically looping probably to some degree in infinity, that like, yeah, when you don't do anything about your wallet and it still gets more assets into it, like they will come back again and again until you rekeyed it or moved it away or made it safe. Like, I mean, I found it rather interesting to see when to see when I came back, because I came back from Paris. I had to do some things in the company and work on certain things, and then like I recorded the thing with Claudio, and just right after our recording was done and we were like, oh, this is a good thing, now we're done, like suddenly this thing happened. And it was rather big scale. I found it rather interesting that you adapted so fast a way to make a documentation on this. Like you have implemented, like for everyone should look actually on the pwdata.info on the page of Acci, where he has also, like, he used to always document everything on the PlanetWatch network, but he has made a specific tool to document this hacker, and you can basically see live the amounts that add up. Like, how was the process for you? Like, how long did it take you to make a specific solution for that?
Actually, it was super easy. And I'll tell you why. I reused a lot of the stuff that I'd already done for other tools on PW data. So all I did was adapted a few things specific to this. I gotta use the word stolen instead of earned in a lot of stuff, but it was rather quick. The thing was, I was only doing it for myself. And then after, half a day, I realized I'm just copy pasting the results from this. It's kind of like how PW data got started. I'm copying and pasting stuff that I'm running myself on the command line. I might as well just push it up to the site. So later in the evening, and I think that was a couple days ago, I just, day before yesterday, maybe I just started pushing it up to the web. And just as things will change, they're going to rapidly change potentially from this point forward. But at the moment of this recording, there are well over 2,000 different Algorand assets ASAs being siphoned out of wallets. So this is not a PlanetWatch thing. I know Planet Watchers are probably watching this video, but for anybody else, it's hitting everybody. PlanetWatch just happened to be one of the larger targets. We were actually, I think, in the second run of this latest wave because we were considered one of the top 10 assets on Algorand. So they targeted us. And then the final run of this script, the final update, said, well, let's just grab everything we can from everybody. And
yeah, but now that you mention it, like, it was, you perceived it, like you saw that it changed over time. Like, basically they presumably started with known tokens, and basically because it works like that every asset on Algorand has to be opted in on a wallet. So they most likely added, like, I don't know, 10, 20 known tokens where they wanted to siphon out the value first. But at some point they paused it, and then this, can you call it script? It is probably fair to call it
probably updated Python script, most likely.
It's a Python script, and now it's kind of the way that it scans the wallet, and if it finds an asset it doesn't know yet on his wallet, it adds the asset first to get it over. And at this point, it's basically taking everything. I mean, it's taking all kind of random NFTs, and for that measure, not only NFTs with value, but also things that people have made themselves, random stuff. We saw a lot of funny token names coming up there because, like, basically, if you put some effort into it, you can make your own token on Algorand. It's not so complicated, just it doesn't have value. You shouldn't make your own gummy bear token and put, I don't know, 20 million of that in your wallet and play around with the idea. But this is kind of where it ends if you don't build a project. And they're taking everything at this point. Yeah.
Literally everything you can take. And just as a final note on this from me, I think to put it all in perspective, it's not great. And for anybody who's lost tokens, I honestly feel for you. It could have been me. I just happened to to follow up on the stuff and get it taken care of before it was me as a target. They did actually hit a bunch of my wallets, or really all my wallets that were on MyAlgo, but I had already moved everything out. So I don't want to diminish the impact on those who have lost planets. And at this point, I don't know what can be done about that, but to put it in a larger scale across the entire project, we're talking just over 2% of planets have been stolen. Not inconsequential, still substantial enough to warrant us talking about it, obviously. And for PlanetWatch specific holders, it's about 1,000 wallets have been, well, over 1,000 now have been affected. And again, that's somewhere around 2% of wallets that have been touching planets over time. So while it seems like everything at this moment are a huge deal, in the grand scheme of things, luckily it is a smaller amount, and a lot of people apparently did protect themselves in some form or fashion. And I understand why people didn't get to it that didn't. It's unfortunate, but I'm glad that enough people did make the effort in the last few weeks to strengthen their security so that they didn't get hit, because it could have been much worse.
Operational security is something, especially with crypto, you have to get into. And I feel also people should inform themselves, probably also on the Algorand network in general. It is a little bit of a tough time now, but like, it is something like you cannot really leave this such topics untouched. And to be very, very precise here, like we're Acci and me, we're recording this on 2nd of April. So mind you that I recorded the episode with Claudio. This will go to editing. Now this one with Acci will also go to editing. It might be that the airing time is a little bit behind the date. A lot might have changed, but we had to manage a little bit now with timelines. We will in fact do a new recording in about, I believe, in about 7 to 10 days, around that corner. We will make a new episode, and there we will try to get like the airing date more closer to the recording date to be timely relevant. I believe for today we cannot say much more. We hope that this investigation about the MyAlgo situation still yields some further results, and maybe in future we can have again a dedicated topic on operational security of your crypto stuff under a better light. At this moment, it is really like, if you zone out from the whole discussion, just have it in mind, rekey your wallet, do something. If you haven't done it yet, if you don't use a ledger and haven't rekeyed the wallet, anything that in any shape or form, only for once, even if only long ago, came in contact with MyAlgo, if you created the wallet there, or you just opted, even if you made a wallet with Para Wallet and at some moment you used it on MyAlgo to use it with certain things, it is potentially compromised. Don't waive this topic. Go and rekey. We provide the link down in the description. Once you've done it, it's like the first time will take you 30 seconds. The next time it's only repeating it. And like Acci said, you can rekey multiple wallets to one. Like this is the way how I did it before bringing certain things to my ledger, is that I simply I made my new signing wallet and I rekeyed basically all my old sensor wallets to it, just to be out of the clear for now. And this is something everyone should do.
And just final note on that, make sure, and I think Merlin said this, but I just want to be ultra sure because I know some of you out there have made the mistake. Don't rekey to a compromised wallet.
Exactly. This is of course like, you have to make a fresh wallet to rekey it to. You can't rekey to other compromised wallet. That's not how it works.
So just wanted to clarify that. So I think we're good then. We'll see you guys in a week or change, depending.
Yeah. I would say so. Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in today with us. It was great to have Acci again here, the man with the voice. It was a nice time with you, and we went quite abroad on the topic. We covered quite some time.
Yeah.
I hope everyone liked it. As usual, like and subscribe, and leave in the comments especially questions for new episodes. We alluded to the fact we will do something about business development soon, things that also might be interesting, where the business goes from now and what are the next steps. We will have an interesting guest for that. Other than that, please propose us new topics and questions, also in the YouTube comments, or do it to the moderators on Discord. We want to now make this content more reactive to certain things, and we want to grab your ideas. Like we always have to talk about things that are timely relevant now, like the MyAlgo situation. We want to rather talk about stuff that you propose. So do us the favor and bring us some topics. Okay.
Sounds good.
Until next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.